There is a serious discussion going on in the country. It is about the budget, the Finance Bill 2025. And if you look at social media, there are already allegations. People are already speculating what this Finance Bill 2025 contains. Now, this discussion has caught the attention of parliamentarians, and they are warning that if this is left unchecked, it might plunge this country into an irredeemable quagmire, like what happened in June last year when Gen Zs stormed parliament. And you know what followed? They were kidnapped, they were killed. You know, there was an enmity between the Gen Zs and Kenyans at large and the MPs who passed the Finance Bill 2024. And let me say this: aliyeumwa na nyoka akiona ung'ong'o hushtuka. For those who understand Kiswahili, you know what I mean. And in English, I simply mean that once bitten, twice shy. And they are saying they have been alarmed. I want us to watch Junet Mohamed, who is warning that we are sitting on a time bomb. And the Budget Committee chairperson, Kimani Kuria, is also crying out and is saying that we need to tone down on the rhetorics about the Finance Bill 2025 because it is not even out. And I want us to look at this because there are serious issues that we want to look at. There are serious questions that we really need to ask because the game has just started. Remember, in 2024 last year, it started like this. We never knew that the culmination of all this would be storming of parliament and our children being gunned down and then being followed up to their places of residence and being kidnapped. And so we need to take this very seriously. Even as we watch, allow me to request you to like and share our videos. It goes a long way in promoting our videos. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you even as you watch this.
The biggest challenge you have in this country, unfortunately, even the most educated that you think would want to read and verify statements, they do not. And unfortunately, we are reduced to very short clips. And that's why you find TikTok is now the most popular social media platform that are only 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds long. And therefore, the misinformation comes out of the speaker. For the last 3 days, let me inform this House. Reject Finance Bill 2025 has been trending on X between number 3 and number 8. Until the whole discussion came, in fact, I wondered, am I not the chair of Finance Committee? Because I would have seen the finance bill that people are talking about. Talking about all manner of misinformation, including that there is in the Finance Bill of 2025, there is a tax for newborn children called Taifa something, Honorable Speaker. And unfortunately, people, I follow the comments of some of these people, you go to their accounts, you think they are distinguished scholars. And they are the ones spreading that propaganda, Honorable Speaker. I will be the least person to be on the defensive for such proposals before they come through to the House. Because when the decision comes, I have an influence with my committee on the final decision on this particular proposal. And therefore, I'm very careful in my communication. Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate. Some of us paid the ultimate price of that misinformation. I lived away from home for a long time because of fear of attack from members of the public. I lost personal properties. And therefore, this misinformation by these people should stop. And I don't know what we need to do, Honorable Speaker, because people, they knowingly, and I say unfortunately knowingly, misinform the members of the public on this particular matter, Honorable Speaker. And I urge this House, when debate comes to this House also, despite our political divide, right now we're in broad-based arrangement. We're in agreement on many things. We don't know how it will be before we go to the next election. Even when we are in different political orientation, let us also not misinform the public just for political gain, Honorable Speaker.
Now I'm seeing a debate ensuing in public that there is, finance bill is like this. We don't have any finance bill. And the public needs to be informed that finance bill comes towards the end of the budgetary process. I'm happy the majority leaders arrived. And the finance bill comes, we are supposed to pass the finance bill by 30th of June. So it can come on 26th of June, 25th of June, 1st of June, as of today. The public is being fed with lies that there is taxation on trees, taxation on oxygen. There is no finance bill in this house. I don't think we have seen any clause of any finance bill before this house, Mr. Speaker, with your approval. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I'm saying, please, we have interest of the public to protect as a house, and we have legislations to do. Let us desist from commenting in a manner that we think we are helping the executive when we are destroying things in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Parliament has the final say on any legislation. So let the executive bring what they want to bring. They can even say they want to tax mountains. It is us who will deny them that right. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, now final conclusion is that, please, what I saw yesterday, whether it's factual, I am not sure. The chairman is here, he can agree with us. But this is what we suffered last time. Because, Mr. Speaker, last finance bill, through the leadership of the majority leader, we ended up withdrawing all the offensive clauses of the finance bill as a house. But the lies went ahead of us. And by the time the truth arrived, people were invading Parliament. So this time, we want to do things in a manner that is in tandem with what the House of Parliament is expected of, by engaging the public, and we don't expect any taxation at all, because why should Kenyans be more taxed more than this? So, but those people who are propagating lies, those people who are confusing Kenyans, I don't want to name names here. I know some senior members of the society who are lying to Kenyans that there is a finance bill. There is no finance bill before this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It was in the Citizen News, Mr. Speaker. I don't know whether that information is factual, Mr. Speaker, because I want to ask, Mr. Speaker, it is not the business of this house to increase any tax. It is the business of Treasury, Mr. Speaker. We are here to safeguard the interest of the public, Mr. Speaker. And finance bill does not belong to Parliament, Mr. Speaker. For the record, finance bill belongs to the National Executive through the Treasury, Mr. Speaker. And the owner of the finance bill is the Minister for Treasury, Mr. Speaker, in charge of Treasury. So, Mr. Speaker, this Parliament has suffered enough for the last 2 years by carrying burden for the executive, Mr. Speaker. We are not members of the executive. We are a legislative arm of government. And our work is very clear in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that we are supposed to do legislation, oversight, and representation. I want to ask my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, let us desist from defending and protecting the work of the executive in a manner that's not legislative. Let us wait until the executive brings their ideas and their proposals to the floor of this house, when we are going to have our say, and when we are going to say whether we agree with them or we disagree with them, Mr. Speaker. And I want to ask the committee chairs, please, let us not hold brief for the executive. Let us allow the executive to do their work. Because if you hold a brief for the executive, you will be speaking on behalf of the full house. And every member here is expected to take responsibility.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that what informs Junet Mohamed and Kimani Kuria to raise this alarm is because of what they saw last year. You know, last year, Kenyans began to, speculate. And before we knew it, in social media, things were circulating. And most of them were true, by the way. And Kenyans, very well informed, looked at the Finance Bill 2024 and they rejected it in totality. In this video, I want us to point out some serious issues. Why Junet and the group are afraid and why there are speculations. That is what I want to look at, because for this to get to the floor of the house and given time to be discussed, then it is serious. What exactly is happening? Why are Kenyans already speculating? That's what I want us to look at. Number one, we all know that in 2024, William Ruto was on a taxing spree. Before William Ruto got to power, he used to criticize Uhuru Kenyatta for taxing Kenyans. But after he got to power and he was sworn into office, he started leaning towards the Bretton Woods institutions and the IMF and World Bank, and they have their dictates. They instructed William Ruto to do away with all the subsidies and increase taxes. And you see, Kenyans have access to all these reports, and they knew that we were suffering as a result of William Ruto's dalliance with the international community. So they refused. And so there is that fear that even as we approach June, because I know this is read in June, but the preparation of the finance bill and the budgeting starts much earlier. So Kenyans do not want to wait. They want to look at any possibilities of increasing taxes because we know the government that we are dealing with. So number one is fear. Fear of the unknown is what is bedeviling Kenyans because they don't know what is going to happen. Can you imagine that even in the Finance Bill 2024 that was rejected, some of the clauses found themselves in Parliament after amendments. They were amended and they got back to Parliament. And the other thing that is really worrying Kenyans is that when in 2024 William Ruto increased taxes and levies, there was no broad-based government. Today, there is the broad-based government. And even Junet Mohamed, who is talking, is known for defending William Ruto. So this time round, Kenyans fear that it might be done with a lot of impunity, ile ya utadu, because even after the Finance Bill 2024 was rejected and William Ruto told Kenyans that he was not going to sign it, there were several things that he also said that were accompanied inside it that he said he would not do. But instead, they were instated. So we know that this time round, because William Ruto has got the backing of Raila and the broad-based partners, he might increase the taxes, knowing very well that nothing will happen. And that is why Kenyans already are speculating. They don't want to wait up to the last minute. They want to know. They are trying to provoke. Wanachokoza hapa na pale. They are throwing a stone inside a forest just to know where the wild animals will be coming from. They are testing because they don't want to wait up to the last minute. Number two, Kenyans don't trust our parliamentarians. I want you to listen to Kimani Kuria back then, even after Kenyans had rejected the Finance Bill 2024, and he was praising it. He was not mentioning the thorny issues that Kenyans were talking about. Instead, he was cherry picking what he thought was good for us, and he was praising this budget, thinking that Kenyans did not understand what it entailed. Listen to Kimani Kuria.
When we zero rate raw materials that are going to be used in the manufacture of fertilizer, who on earth would have a problem with that? Because that is part of the proposal that you signed into an act on Monday, Your Excellency. When we zero rate coffee and tea that is going to be used for export, who on earth would have a problem with that particular proposal, Your Excellency? When we reduce railway development levy and import declaration fee, who on earth would have a problem with that, Your Excellency? So we are telling them, we are ready for them. Kazi tulifanya, finance bill lazima tutafute pesa ya kuapprove budget ambayo Mheshimiwa Dede Nyoro na kamati yake walipitisha that you signed into an act.
That is what Kenyans are afraid of, that we have a parliament that does not listen to us. We have parliamentarians who do not listen to us. They work for the executive. Whenever there is an executive order, that is what they follow. They dance to the tune of the executive. I still repeat that if our parliamentarians were considerate, had they listened to Kenyans, we wouldn't have found ourselves in the situation where we were, where Kenyans stormed parliament, where our youths were captured, kidnapped, killed. It was very chaotic, all because of MPs who I understand were bribed, MPs whom instead of listening to us had their ears elsewhere. So they don't. In fact, there is this thing called public participation. It is a mere formality, if you ask me. Because I remember very well, experts were called for that public participation. And it was very clear, if they were democratically listening to us, and they really meant well, They would have listened and implemented what Kenyans wanted, but they refused. And that is what Kenyans fear. There is no trust. There's trust deficit between Kenyans and their parliamentarians. And that's why you can see there is a lot of speculation going on. And while Junet is trying to tell us that, and even Kimani Kure was saying that they will be the first people to oppose the increment. No, they will not. They will support William Ruto. They will support the executive. They will not support Kenyans. They are only lying to us. We saw them talk. The other day, Junet was saying, I don't know if you are criticizing William Ruto. Remember how they were criticizing, they were warning Kenyans, Junet and Joe. So they cannot lie to us because Kenyans don't trust them. Number 3 is still the same thing, parliament capture. In Kenya today, there isn't any institution that is independent. All those independent institutions, the independence is only on paper. Whether you want to look at parliament, you want to look at the judiciary, you want to look at the office of the public prosecution, you want to look at DCI, you want to look at NIS. All of them are controlled at one point. Even the police, all of them are being controlled by the executive. So Kenyans understand too well that we are dealing with serious issues that will affect us directly. And if it is left to the parliamentarians up to the last minute, I can assure you, it will backfire on Kenyans. And that's why it has just started. And let me tell you, this is just the beginning. This battle is going to go on. And with the advantage of social media, they will be scrutinizing. We will be looking at the proposals. And this time round, we really want to talk to our parliamentarians. You know what happened. And I can see Junet, Mohamed, and the other parliamentarians already still feel the heat and the pain that Kenyans went through. Let them do the right thing, because if they don't, I can assure you that Kenya is very volatile. It only requires a trigger. Like experts were saying, that what took Kenyans to the streets per se was not the finance bill. The finance bill 2024 was just a trigger. Otherwise, we had a generation that was tired of the usual suspects, tired of leaders who don't listen to them, leaders who think that they are smarter, leaders who think that they can still use the methods that they used sometimes back, archaic methods of hoodwinking Kenyans and telling them lies, and they think that they can lie to us all the time. And so this is what happened to Kenyans. Going to the street was not just because of the finance bill 2023. The Kenyans had accumulated quite a lot. They were carrying a burden, and they said enough is enough. And you see, if the government would think that maybe they kidnapped, the youths were kidnapped and they were killed, and so maybe they feel that they dealt with that generation and with the situation at the moment, I can assure you that you can kill the messenger, but the message cannot be killed. The message is still clear. Kenyans are not ready for overtaxation. And I think because we don't see value for the money. Right now it is coming at a very precarious moment when Rigathi and the former Attorney General Muturi are revealing and exposing how corrupt this government is. The Dr. Nyakango, the two offices, the Controller of Budgets Office and the Auditor General's Office, are also just revealing how much wastage is going on in the country. So it is even more precarious than it was. Because right now, if Kenyans would go to the street, then they would go knowing very well that we are ready to die, because they saw how the government of the day dealt with the situation. The ball is in Junet's court, Junet and the group parliamentarians. Instead of talking, because that's what they've been doing, just talking, telling us that they will not allow, William Ruto to do this. But when the right time comes, you will see them. What will happen is very simple. Before the passage of these bills, Raila will call his people and give them instructions. both the Senate and the National Assembly members. William Ruto will call his people, and they will be working under instructions, not instructions of Kenyans, but instructions of the de facto political leaders. And that's what they're going to use. I can assure you that Raila and this group will give the green light for even a more exorbitant budget. Ruto the same. Maybe this group that supports Rigathi Gachagua and maybe part of Kalonzo Musyoka's group will reject the bill. But you saw what happened when they were impeaching Rigathi Gachagua. They have the numbers and they will kick and they will pass the bill. So, ladies and gentlemen, the fear that is gripping Parliament is real. But what do they do after the fear? What do they do after the caution? They need to do their work because we elected parliamentarians to represent us. Representing me means that if I say I don't want that finance bill, and of course, maybe I'm not a financial expert, but there are experts who look at things and tell them Kenyans are not ready. If that is what we want, then they should work with that, not forcing it down our throats. And I don't know what you think, but the fear of Gen Z's invasion is real. Remember Kimani Chungwa had once told us that yeye anaogopa tu Wijimoto, I don't know na Mungu na nini. Let us this time round, during the passing of the finance bill, have an environment where we do not look at each other as enemies. The people of Kenya, the ordinary mwananchi and parliamentarians. Let them discuss this. Let public participation be real so that Kenyans don't feel like they are taken for granted. I don't know what to think, but the time is now.